Hello and welcome to the Data for Subscriptions podcast, where we focus on how to succeed with subscriptions and as-a-service businesses. I'm your host, Behdad Banian, and today I have the pleasure of welcoming Marie Sandå to the show. Marie, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So Marie, you are with the product as a service team at Electrolux, and before we get to talk more about you and what you do, why don't we start with introducing what Electrolux does?
Yeah, Electrolux is a global leader in household products, founded in Sweden back in 1919 by a fantastic entrepreneur called Axel Wennergren. So most Swedish people know about him, but maybe not internationally. So Electrolux has a fascinating story, and you can read more about it on electroluxgroup.com if you want to. And just an example, back in 1923-24, he had even sales offices in the US, Australia, Brazil, and countries around the world. So it's absolutely fascinating. So today we are selling approximately 60 million household products in over 120 markets every year with 49,000 employees.
A sizable company. And you started global from day one, it sounds like. Tell us more about what you do at Electrolux.
So, yeah, I work in a group called Product as a Service. Wasn't around in 1919, but for about 2-3 years now, we worked with Product as a Service. I have been there for 1.5 years. And it's a global team. It's fairly small, but we also work with other colleagues in the different countries. So we have active subscriptions in APAC, out of Singapore, and we also have it in Europe, out of Sweden.
Right. So you recently have introduced this subscription model AtEase, which is what you refer to here, starting here in Sweden.
Yeah, correct.
So tell us more about AtEase. Let's just start from the basics.
Yeah, AtEase is our name of subscriptions in Product as a Service. So instead of talking to consumers about Product as a Service, we talk about AtEase. So we take out complexity and we just manage everything for the consumer so they can just get the best outcome of our products. So you subscribe more or less of the outcome. It's still a bit of an experiment. So we will see if this resonates, these offers resonate with the consumers. And also if we can handle refurbishment and take the products back. Because you can subscribe for a product for as long as you want.
Right.
You can either test it out and you can keep it, or you can keep it for as long as you want. And if it breaks down during the time you have it as a subscription, you just get a replacement from us. So we now have 12 different services based out of 3 different products. So you can choose if you want a new product or a refurbished product, if you want a full flex subscription, or if you want to have a commitment time of 12 months.
So your offering today consists of 3 products from the total portfolio of Electrolux. You provide it in different ways, totaling up to about 12 different offers, so to say, based on those
that's
3.
Correct.
Okay, got it.
Those products are now coming from what we call the well-being segment.
Right.
That is for well-being in your home. So it's air purifiers, vacuum cleaners, and air conditioners, and that segment is on.
Yeah. And how did you arrive at the decision of that's the place to start with those products in the well-being segment?
I think it was a good, convenient way to start.
Okay.
It's a smaller product. You can ship them in a box, like in a postal package, because we do want to do product as a service for our major domestic appliances as well in the future.
Yeah.
But that is another story around logistics and transportation and refurbishment. This is a good way to start.
Yeah.
And the purpose with all of that is to give this product a longer life.
Yeah. I think most people can anticipate what the broad portfolio of Electrolux is, even if they don't know the company. But you have a very broad portfolio really small products like the vacuum cleaners to larger, more complex vacuum cleaners, and then the full kind of kitchen appliances and so on and so on.
Yeah.
And you also, to my knowledge, you have B2C, yes, which is what we most know, but you have a B2B arm as well.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, absolutely.
And you've done You've done some market research. You obviously have a starting point. You mentioned that you've had some initiatives before leading up to this bigger launch, so to say, but you've done some market research as well. Did that influence your choice in terms of what you would start with?
Yeah, we did quite a bit of interviewing around value propositions.
Yeah.
And we did it in a handful of European countries.
Okay.
So yeah, that was the base for how we shape the first offerings. But you never really know until you've tried.
Yeah.
So...
because it's one thing to, obviously, this is the traditional way, I call it, which go out and ask the customers what you want.
Yeah.
But the beauty of a subscription model is that you get into this ongoing relationship where you actually listen to, I call it listen, quote unquote, based on the usage of, and thereby it turns out to be arguably much more effective way of understanding what the customers are looking for. Yeah. Their willingness to pay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a magical moment, isn't it? When you put an offer out there and somebody you don't know, you have no relationship to, actually clicks and order it, sign up, and take part of that consumer experience, and you can sort of figure out what they think about it.
Absolutely. But okay, so you obviously, what you carried into your decision was, A, you had a couple of test rockets. B, you did certainly some market research and talk to customers, potential customers. But then also you weighed in your own agenda in terms of, we believe that this could be a great place to start. It's an easier kind of starting point from the well-being segment. Got it.
And we did a pilot in Sweden with just a robot vacuum cleaner for about a couple of years first.
So from an objective standpoint, naturally, you're already selling 60 million appliances worldwide, a core business that has been around for more than 100 years. Yeah. The obvious objective would be to grow your business, grow your revenue. But if you would articulate more specifically, what are the objectives you're looking to hit?
Yeah, I think the long-term objective is quite clear. It's to design products that last longer and can be repaired easily. So update and finally recycled when they're not used anymore. So it's a sustainability thought in that. Yeah. But at the same time, also looking into, can we do this in a healthy business way?
Right. So sustainability in its true meaning, so to say, because it needs to be business-wise viable as well.
Yeah. Because sustainability is like an integral part of the group strategy now. So product as a service is one of all these initiatives that we do. Of course. Yeah.
If you expand on it a little bit more, so how does now this subscription initiative fit into the overall Electrolux model then?
No, it fits in really, really well. When in sustainability fits in, like sort of ticks every box in that. So absolutely. But also our way to get closer relationship to our consumers, to know how do they use our products. And in the subscription model, we can really monitor that, because we know when they break down, because you ship it back and we ship you a replacement. So we know exactly how often it needs to be repaired and how often it needs to be refurbished. So we can really track that.
Got it. So let's talk a little bit more about the customers then. What would you say is the core value proposition and value for the customers here?
The main value, I would say, is the convenience. Yeah. It's we take care of everything for you. We ship you the new brushes when it's time to change. We nudge you when it's time to do some cleaning. We send you a new filter when it's time. If it breaks down, you can just contact us and you get a replacement. You just always take care of the cleaning in this case. You subscribe to Clean Floors and we make sure it happens.
And all of this hinges naturally on the vast amount of data that you constantly get from the customer's product usage.
Yeah, correct. They are connected, so we can see when it's time to change a filter or time to change a brush, or time to change it.
And how do you, or how have you started now to deploy this service and create awareness around that? I know that you launched this service at AtEase on June 11th.
Yeah. And that offer, that was the new name, and there's also more products, more offers. That was launched now in June with a new storefront, new site. And easiest way to reach that is to go via electrolux.se, just scroll down and you'll find it. and you can see which offers we have. And now we have a basic setup with the back end and the front end, and also the internal processes. And now we can add more products on that.
And since this is a direct-to-consumer customer play, how do you drive promotion of it?
We've been quite careful in this because we wanted to launch and see that everything works.
Right.
So we have done some digital marketing,
right.
social media, paid search, stuff like that.
Yeah. But you've started a little bit easy to make sure that everything really works and holds. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So is this mainly a way for you guys to work your already addressable customer base? Or are you looking to kind of grow your business and expand?
Yeah, I think both.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely both.
Do you know if your current customer base that are used to buying one-time, kind of the one-time purchase, one-time sales model, that they are keen in moving on to a subscription model? Is this a data point that you have today?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
Because in interviews we're not monitoring it data like that, but we have in interviews. We do quite a bit of interviews with the subscriber base.
Yeah.
So we know where they're coming from, if they're happy or not, and all that, and how they use the products. But I think some people always want to own, and some of them all want to subscribe. It's like you can lease a car, or you can buy a car, or you can go by taxi. Yeah. There's different needs.
Because it is interesting, I mean, for us here at Digital Route, since we have been involved in what we refer to as subscription business for basically the 20 years or so the company has been around. Even though in telecoms, where I know you have your background as well, we are now, all of us, extremely happy with I think most of us, maybe I should rephrase and say, most of us, I believe, are happy with the subscription models that we have because of the granularity and the service quality they provide. But largely, if we look across industries, it's very early days.
Oh, it's very early days, and there's hardly anybody doing what we do. So there's few to compare with. There are a couple of companies across Europe that are doing similar things to what we do. Miele is doing it in Germany, and there are a few companies doing it. Bosch is doing it in a partnership, and then there's some resellers doing it in Europe.
Yeah.
But I would say no one really in Sweden. I think what we add in complexity in our subscription is the actual product.
Yeah.
And how to handle that, the shipment and the refurbishment and repairs and that.
I think that's a great point, because in light of this being new, while in certain industries being telecom specifically, but we also have content and media space where we're all used to Netflix and the Disney Plus and the Spotify's. This is vastly different. This is a completely different value chain.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen in the cloud infrastructure space as well, is that we've seen subscriptions in one form or shape been around for quite many years. So this is different though, and it brings a whole new set of complexity that's going to be really fascinating for us to kind of tackle along the way. But just on the bundling and pricing, if you go back 2-3 years, there was not so much talk about hybrid. Today, we see a dramatic increase of the conversation around hybrid. Why? To the point that you made is that some people would want to own, some people would want to only subscribe. But in fact, it seems more and more that people want to have a combination of.
Yeah, absolutely. And you already have some products probably at home.
Yeah.
You don't change everything from start.
Let's talk about the impact of now the subscription service for your reseller retail ecosystem, because again, going back to your core business, this is largely sold through resellers, correct?
Yeah, and that will be the future as well.
Yeah.
Yes. So now going back that we're still experimenting, and some of the findings and some of the learnings we do can probably go back to helping out resellers as well.
But in this initiative, it's direct to consumer.
It's direct to consumer. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about the targets that you have for the next 12 months. What are you tracking?
Oh, we are tracking our sort of beliefs in can this work? I mean, does these offers resonate with the consumers? But then we also track churn rate, how many leaves us, and appliance lifetime value. For how long does the appliance, and that would be more than 12 months, because that would not be, it will last longer than 12 months. So that will take us more than 12 months. But we will see how much revenue will we get out of an appliance throughout the entire lifetime. We also look at average revenue per user, of course, ARPU, consumer acquisition cost, and the retention rate, how many stays after 6 months, how many stays after 12 months, how many stays even longer than that. We have some data of that already for the first pilot with the robot vacuum cleaners, and they stay very long. The majority are happy with the service, and when you get into it, it's a thought to get used to as well.
Right.
That you subscribe to something, but you never. You never have to go back to thinking about, should I change the battery or should I sort of maintain this product, because we help you with that. We also look at the free trial conversion rate, because you can always try our products for 14 days in your home. The robot might not work in your home, or it does, depending on maybe furniture or rugs or something that you have special. Yeah. So you can feel the freedom that I can test it out. And if I'm not happy with it, I send it back and you don't pay anything for the first 14 days. And then, of course, consumer satisfaction overall. So we do quite a bit of interviews. And as I said before, it's an experiment. So we invite these consumers to be a part of our experiment as well. And they are, most of them, early adopters. As you said, it's new. So they're quite happy to be a part of our experiment and very generous with their views and time in this. And then we have a set of metrics also that we monitor for the refurbishment. How often we change certain parts and how often we need to do repairs.
So I take it back to when I asked you the question of what's the value for the customer, as well as asking you what's the, how it fits into Electrolux model and agenda. You said from the customer perspective, it's convenience.
Yeah.
And then obviously from an Electrolux standpoint is to make sure that you have happy customers, you can grow your customers base obviously, and making sure that you can deliver long-lasting products.
Yeah.
So if I take it back to just a side note, probably I think 20 years or something like this, I remember Electrolux, you came to market with a vacuum cleaner. At that point, obviously you bought a one-time sales, but a vacuum cleaner that was made out of ocean plastic. That just that was a way to kind of show, we have to kind of take our responsibility. The point is that I perceive Electrolux having sustainability and circular economy being at the core of its basically identity and mission as a company. So this I think feels very genuine when you guys speak about the fact that
it does. Yeah,
you want to provide a product which has a longer lifetime value, that speaks financial language, that you can get more value out of a product. But I think it's a very exciting and welcome change for companies, because we have come from decades of faster and faster consumption of products.
Terrible.
I think so. I will just also add my own perspective as now a new customer of Electrolux, because I signed up to your service and very candidly, we do not have Electrolux products in our home. We are a customer of one of your competitors to date. So this is interesting for me, because I just literally took the consumer seat. I went to your website and I clocked it because I was interested in seeing, so how easy is this AtEase service?
Yeah.
And it took me 2 minutes literally.
Oh, cool.
From the point where I read the information, how you provided the benefits clearly articulated without making it long-winded, but also not too high level. It was pretty easy for me to see, okay, so these are the products, these are the options. The fact that there weren't too many options made it also quite easy. What I really liked mostly is how easy it was for me to kind of choose between the fixed subscription model of 12 months versus a full flexible.
Yep.
The fact that I could choose between a new or a refurbished product. So I chose flexible and I chose refurbished product. What I did not expect from you guys was that when I chose refurbished, that the fixed fee that you have was halved, which I think is pretty amazing. Why? Because at the end of the day, whether we buy a product or we subscribe to it, I mean, the premise is still the value that we perceive.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's some of the hurdles that some companies have a challenge to pass, because when they go over to subscription mode, the challenge they might have is that the customer might say, but I paid this amount and then I never had to pay any more. Now you're charging me and it seems more expensive. You guys, at least so far in my experience, early customer of Electrolux, have had a great start, because you provided me a product which fits my values. It's refurbished. I know it's going to work.
And it looked good?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to hold the quality that Electrolux provides.
Yeah.
Why? Because literally in your contract you say, if it doesn't, we'll make sure that it does.
Yeah.
And then you take full responsibility. And it's also a model that I appreciate, which is that you have a small fee, which is understandable, but then you have this exciting per usage, which we're going to come back to.
Yeah.
But so good work so far. I like the customer experience to date. Time will tell now, as well as we continue to use the product, how basically the way you listen to us as a customer, that works. But I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Okay, let's switch a bit now to talk about the challenges that you had to overcome to arrive at the point of today.
Yep.
So one of the things that we already touched, and even for me as a new customer of Electrolux, is that even with the current portfolio of only 3 products, but with the different modes that you deliver, you have 12 different offers.
Correct.
Approximately how many customers would you say you have today on your platform?
We have around 4,000.
Yeah. Because typically when we speak about complexity around data management, or specifically usage data management, it is a combination of volume of data, which directly correlates to the volume, obviously, of customers that you have, and then the variability. We could say that you have a decent amount of variability already now with only 3 products.
Yeah.
And the customer base that naturally will grow.
Yeah.
What's your plan to introduce new products, by the way, in the near midterm? Are you planning to introduce more?
Yeah, we're adding new offers and new products already in September, October.
Okay.
Yeah. So keep your eyes open.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like I'm going to be spending more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you started now from a geographical standpoint here in Sweden, and you're planning, as you said before, to expand into Europe. And when in time do you plan to do that?
During next year.
During next year. So we immediately see a very aggressive ramp up from your starting point to where you want to go. So more products, more offers, more geographies. What I'm keen on understanding is there's a vast amount of data that this is going to bring in already now. And you spent some minutes before you talked about that this is largely about being close to the customers and listening to my usage.
Yeah.
How did your backend system look like from a usage data management standpoint, where you started with that one product? And then what did you have to do to set yourself up for now?
Yeah, we started with a basic setup that could handle one product in one country with one price, more or less. Yeah, fit for purpose for the time and for that first pilot. So after that now, and the new offers we have launched here in June, we needed to build out more and to handle that complexity. And and that can do several countries, several different pricing models.
Right.
Like you said before, the 12 different for now, and they can do more. And the next step where we need to go is to introduce discounts and bundlings as well.
Right. Is your thinking as well that when you speak about bundles, I can see that you're talking about bundles of different products that Electrolux offers. Yes. Are you thinking about products potentially from partners?
Could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because all of this
would be super interesting to add third-party products to our offerings.
No, absolutely. I mean, I can just see myself as a consumer, if you would come in with additional accessories, which increases the value for me as a customer, I would just see it as an upside, because then you're actually thinking about the final service for me, and you go, well, if you add this in. One thing that I notice in conversations with customers that we deal with is the underestimation of the complexity. And why? Is because what you guys are really after is, first, look after the customer. Second, make sure that your backend can cater for agility, flexibility, so you can continue to kind of listen and innovate.
Yeah. Innovate new models, but also keep track of the old ones.
Yeah. If you would give some advice to other people listening to this and wanting to embark on a similar initiative, what are the things to think about of how do you make sure you set up your backend in the right way so it's fit for fight?
It depends where you're coming from, I guess. It depends what your IT structure looks like from start.
Yeah.
We are coming from a 100-year-old business that was used to selling to resellers. So we didn't have any backend that could handle different type of subscriptions and different kind of pricing models at all. So we had to build it from start.
Right. And you set up something specific for it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. This is also pretty common as well, because you don't want to necessarily interfere with your core business. I mean, it's been more or less perfected for many, many years.
Oh yeah, that's a well-oiled machinery.
Let's talk about pricing.
Yeah.
So what was your thinking and maybe science behind the pricing that you put on the current offer?
Then we have different models. So we have one where you signed up for the price per square meter. So that is the thinking with that is that you pay for your usage. The outcome. You pay for how much you use it. So you pay 1 crown per square meter, but a minimum of 99. And there's a maximum, so we don't overcharge you. And then you can also choose to sign up for a committed time of 12 months. Then you have a fixed monthly fee. So that is to test out which one resonates the best with the consumers.
Are you making a bet, basically, just to have a starting point and then listen in?
Exactly.
Or what? Do you have any starting point in terms of feedback and input? So that would be a good place to start.
We have done customer interviews as well.
Okay.
A lot.
Yeah.
But, and some find the price per square meter really exciting.
Yeah.
And some find it maybe a bit complicated to understand how much will I really pay.
Yeah.
But until you have tried with a certain amount of consumers and they actually tried it and got the invoice and that, you don't know before that, really. You can ask, but they have to try it out.
For us, and also here at Digital, because we deal with customers oftentimes that are at the forefront of the subscription business, I think seeing you guys stepping into true usage-based is super cool.
Yeah.
It's bold, but it's super cool.
Yeah.
But this actually connects back to what we just spoke about when it comes to the back-end complexity that one needs to manage for. Because
and we don't really know now, Behdad, if these ones that like the usage-based, if they are the early adopters, and it will change over time or not. We don't know that yet. So that's also really exciting to follow.
Yeah.
Because not that many knows about the offer yet.
Yeah.
I think that is one of our main parts as well, to market it more, making it more known.
But this also puts the finger on, if we kind of go up a few steps in terms of why subscription models, obviously for the reason of growing business, yes, but just this conversation is very different than when you sell a product and then you have a customer support or a warranty kind of process going on. This is diametrically different.
It is,
because we're spending all of our time right now speaking about the fact that every minute that the product is in use in our home, you are listening to it.
Yeah.
And you're, in a way, listening to me. I think this is very, very interesting. This is why those of us who are in the so-called subscription business, we think is super exciting. I'll just say this, though, from just connecting back to the usage. since we just started with your service. For me, it's intriguing to see how you will bill for it and how accurate you will be, meaning that...
Oh, yeah.
Because for me, I don't want to get... You mentioned bill shock. I don't want to have a bill shock where I go, hold on a second, what's happening here? Why is this so expensive? But at the same time, as a company, you want to make sure that you get fair pay for the service that you provide. And this is all kind of directly linked to your backend for usage data management. Because if you don't do this perfectly, and now we're speaking very simple. We're speaking one product, I'm going to use it for square meters. And we're not speaking bundles, discounts,
No. If you have a few products working together on that,
the new products, if you provide me a better bundle this fall with additional products, I think everybody listening to
this gets really exciting.
Yeah, exactly. I think everybody listening to this can start to anticipate when we speak complexity, how quickly it can go. Now, let's talk about internal alignment.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a starting point, but it's also a very important move for Electrolux. How do you ensure that you get everybody involved and aligned and getting behind an initiative like this?
Yeah, everyone doesn't have to be aligned like that, but you need to have management support to be able to do something like this, absolutely. And then I think the trickiest part for us has been that our company is set up, as a product company, set up for product linear sales and very well organized in that.
Of course.
And now we come along and want to do something completely different, like just taking products out of the warehouse and getting it to consumer and then get it back and doing a refurbishment and then back in the warehouse again. So we have done that as a separate track. So now we're doing that completely separate. But to do that kind of agile with maybe a few products to test with, because we could do that now, but to do that, it's super complicated in a big company like ours, understandably.
Of course.
Yeah. But I think the will to do this has been strong and the support has been really good. So the complexity in internal alignment has not been that people don't want to help us, more like we're doing something different.
Of course.
So every single little process we have been sort of tweaking on. Yeah, for us. Even ordering products and, everything, because that is so well organized, because we know exactly what to do in the linear business.
Yeah.
And here we still experimenting, still really don't know how this is going to work out. So that has been the most complex part. And I think the most work we have done is set up our little ring-fenced unit to do this. And that work is behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So that is the ones that taken the longest time.
What I hear very clearly from you is, yes, you have a clear idea what you want to do, but equally so, flexibility and adaptability is very clear from how you speak about, from basically the beginning of our discussion, also from the whole customer value standpoint, all the way now back to the processes and internal alignment. That's very clear.
Because you need to tweak this all the time now. So when we get products out and we get them back and we have a discussion with consumers, we probably need to change pricing models, how we write about the products, how we describe them, what's included in a subscription, what's important for the consumers. Is the sustainability important? Is the flexibility important? So we need to change on the front end. We also need to change the back end.
Right. And vice versa, of course.
Yeah.
What are you personally most excited about for the next 6 to 12 months?
I am super excited about this work, basically, because it's super fun. Yeah. And it's we don't know if it's going to work, but we think, and it's worth trying. So super excited about see how these new offers resonate with our consumers, adding more products and new offers in September, October. Fantastic products. You have to look for those. And then so also looking into next countries in Europe. That would be really exciting.
Can you tell us more about which countries, or is that something that we will discover along the way?
Next time.
Next time, okay. We keep that as a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
We'll have you back when you're going to introduce the new offers in the fall.
Bigger country than Sweden.
Bigger than Sweden. Taller than Sweden?
No.
Okay. All right. As a final segment, for those listening to this and want to embark on a similar initiative, what are your advice to all of us? What should we be thinking about?
I would advise to get something up, a basic setup that you can start testing, because we don't really know what works and what not works. So the testing part is, and not being afraid of the testing, like a minimal viable product. See how does that resonate with consumers, and how can you do the back end? So getting that started, and also making sure that you have the management support for that, and that it can fail, or you can pivot, you can change, you can do a lot there. And like we do now, we start in Sweden because it's quite easy for us to change if something needs to change, and then we have a little bit more robustness. We can go to the next country.
Right. Start with a robust MVP.
Yeah.
Make sure you have the right backend set up so you can be agile and quick. So you can tune in, innovate.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't set something up and just leave it. You need to be able to iterate often.
Yeah. And make sure you have management backing and support.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Marie, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And good luck on something that I have a good feeling about. I think it's going to go really well.
Yeah, good. We need that. So now you can sell it to all your friends in midsummer.
I will do.
Thank you.
Thank you.